And the result we have is pretty insane. G'day. It's my favorite part of this build is grain matching. This is the part of the day where you can just kind of chill out, put on some of your favorite music and sort of wind down and just have fun with it, basically. There's nothing too intense, there's no mess, there's no routing, there's no nothing like that. Let's put some grain lines in this ash and let's make this guitar look factory. Here's our footprint that we've got to work to. So I need to carry these grain lines up to this point where the Evertune sits, and then down this area as well. Make things look factory. Previously, when I did Kian's guitar, I've kind of come to realize it doesn't matter too much when I'm creating new physical indentations. I can start with a perfectly flat, smooth piece of timber because I'm going to be spraying over the top of the guitar. I don't really need to have them match perfectly from the get-go. You can see this line matches here, this one's close, but it's not a huge necessity for this step of the process. I'm going to start with the obvious pieces first, and then I'm going to focus a little bit more on these two sides. The first obvious one will be this big one here. Color in, try and sort of match the width of that grain line as well. Keep your pencil nice and sharp too. I just use this little sanding block and I will rotate as I run this across here. So it's nice and sharp. Now this outline, I don't need to worry about how they look inside of this area because the footprint of the Evertune is going to be larger than that anyway. Not all of the grain runs straight, some of it's big and looping. This is called cathedraling, where the grain runs out into a bit of a point up here. Looks like the roof of a cathedral. Through this section, it's quite flat, so I'm not going to worry too much about doing grain through here. It just wouldn't make sense. Whereas this area, there's quite a bit of grain running through. Try and guesstimate as well. Like if we did an implant here and you see this part kind of swooping in like that, I'm going to naturally want to follow that grain. It's just going to make it look more convincing. You know, we are faking it till we make it. This area here, it's kind of like a bit of a stipple effect. I'm going to try and do the same for this part. Just sort of trust the process. You're going super slow. You're just kind of having fun with it. Anything to kind of pull the eye away from any of these little joins is going to work in my favor. So like this one, I might kind of match up here a little bit. Kind of penciled in what I want. Now I'm just going to take a blade and put some very small indentations along where I've drawn so that I have something for the next object that I'm going to use to kind of fall into. I got this idea from, like, I'd had my hands tattooed and initially the ink wasn't used right away. There was like a bloodline that was done with a really, really small needle. It just gave the next needle that was bigger an area to kind of trace and fall into. So that's kind of where I got this idea from. I was right about using a wood glue instead of epoxy because as I'm grazing over here, I can see I'm able to create that grain a little bit easier where these two materials meet. Whereas the epoxy, I felt like I was really having to dig in, and then I was creating like little valleys before and after the epoxy. Now what I'm going to do is take a semi-blunt object, which this is just the flat head of a Leatherman tool. Kind of using like my thumb to gauge how much pressure I can put on the wood. I'm basically just going to trace and carve the areas that I've drawn before. You can use whatever you have. You can use like the back end of a blade or a screwdriver or a screw itself. You see a lot of luthiers tools out there and they're designed for specific jobs, but I'm telling you, you can just work with whatever you've got. This is just a center punch with like a bit of a blunt edge on it, and I'll kind of just deepen them a little bit. I've got to take into account that when I spray with the paint, any valleys where there's like a sharp valley like this, the paint's going to fill that. So if I widen it with this, then those grain lines are going to look more pronounced rather than just filling up with paint. And I can press harder or lighter depending on how much I want that to show through once I've sprayed the guitar. So I don't know if you guys can see, but I've created all those grooves now, so they should kind of match up to the rest. I'm going to hit this with a little bit of paint and then it'll kind of make them look a little more pronounced. This is purely just a little bit of a test spray to see how deep the grain lines are, to sort of get them to pop and see how pronounced they are. Well, maybe a little bit too deep over here, which when I sand this back and then respray again, it's going to fill those just a touch more. They'll blend in a bit. I can probably join some of these lines a little bit nicer. These back here look pretty normal. Here look pretty normal as well. We're close. We're not quite there yet, but I'm going to let this dry and then I will resand this area and then we'll give everything one coat when temperature permits. It's about 100 degrees outside right now, which for those of you playing in Australia is 38 degrees Celsius. So not ideal spraying conditions. I would want to do this first thing in the morning in Arizona, take the guitar inside and let it dry a little bit. So we're nearly there, but not quite, but good progress so far. Just for fun and games, I'm just going to hit this with the other edge of this. This is like maybe 600-800-ish. Kind of want to see where we're at. Again, there's no real exact method or exact science to this. If you've been repairing for a while, you know, you use a little bit of your repairer's intuition. My inlay outline is slowly disappearing. This has been one very light coat of paint. We're not far off. By the time we drop this in, we're looking pretty good. Right, I laid down some paint and then I sanded that paint back and I set up a tiny little spray booth here. As you can see, super professional. Then I laid down a couple of extra layers. I let that flash off, let it dry for a couple of days. And the result we have is pretty insane. That is super clean. And that's awesome. So on my little StewMac kit, they have a center punch, and I thought this is the perfect little object to just sort of get in here with some of this grain a little bit deeper into the body. I want to make it look a bit more even across everything. A little bit back here. The paint is still just a tiny bit soft as well, so that's sort of working in my favor. But yeah, man, so I'm going to do that for a little while. But that's absolutely insane so far. All right, time to get this tape off. Now, because I didn't spray around the edges, I left a very small line here. All I'm gonna do is just use something that's a tiny bit abrasive, and I'm gonna go around the edge like this. You don't even need to use sandpaper, especially when the paint's still just a tiny bit soft. This will just kind of help sort of push and blend things in around the edge. If it was to be hard, I'd probably hit this with a little bit of 2000 grit. Satin is also incredibly forgiving, so that's why I respray these myself. I am by no means a professional level painter. I plan to be someday though, because I would like to facilitate respray work for my own customers. I know a lot of you guys are going to want to hear this guitar and see it being played. I'm not currently set up to take any sort of decent recording. So right now I've also posted my interview and clip with Kian Hushman. You can jump straight on my channel and watch that as well and have a listen to what an Evertune M80M sounds like. I'm insanely happy with the result. I'm excited to get strings on. I am going to do a little bit of a bonus episode on deleting the locking nut as well. Customer has asked for a Graphtec nut instead of bone. Any of you guys in America have anything cool you want me to work on, reach out and we can make a bit of a game plan. I am now opening my books to Evertunes across the United States. If you want to send something down to Arizona, just let me know and I can facilitate that for you. That's pretty much it for this one, guys. Thanks again for watching and for your support. I had no idea how quickly this channel would grow. I've had a lot of love, a lot of really nice comments. Keep it up. As always, have a good one.
Evertune are always helpful and always willing to back me, and I always appreciate it. And Harren is just a wizard. Like, the fact that this looks flush and stock is a joke. So massive shout out to him, especially in a very busy time period in his life. I really appreciate it, dude. Thank you a lot.